Okay, the Board of Selectmen's meeting for start our budgets. Tonight's budget, we are thrilled to have Parks and Recreation here. Jim, do you want to start it off, or you want Christine to, or how do you want to do this?
Sure, I just would like to go over a couple things before we dive into the budgets. In your budget books, the opening page, you will see a summary of the budgets, and that gets into the individual department budgets and shows you the ups and downs based on a percentage basis and a dollar amount. You also see the layout for administrative allocations, and you'll see the long-term debt service, which is laid out for a number of years, and the current capital reserve fund balances through August 31st, 2022. Also, toward the back of your book, you'll see a capital outlay tab. That includes all of the capital outlays across all of the funds. And then the tab behind that, which is not necessarily marked, it shows the 5-year actuals averaged out over a 5-year period. When we started this process, my goal was to deliver the Board of Selectmen a general fund budget that was no greater than 7.5% increase, or $1,177,790. We broke that out, and again, this just got finished this afternoon, but to give you an idea of where we're at, the general fund budget as we sit right now is up $1,134,720, or 7.23%. So we've reached the goal that I was trying to do with the general fund. Now, mind you, the books have essentially been closed at this point for departments, and we've, since that time, had a couple of correspondence where we'll probably see departments coming in and asking for a couple of increases. One of those will be tonight, and another one will be the police department when they come forward with their budget. Water fund is up $37,107, or 2.31%. Electric fund is down $104,529, or down 1.01%. Sewer fund is up $7,343, for less than a 0.5% increase, and the Pop Whalen is up $72,439, or 31%. Rationale with the Pop Whalen is we've got that bond that's coming on board, and we have to allocate out a percentage of that. So what are some of our major drivers? Long-term debt saw an increase of $376,437. Those were votes which have been taken over the past year, and that's where a lot of this increase is. Right now, we've been asked to have a 10% placeholder in health insurance. That's $97,926. We're hopeful that we get into mid-November, we get the feedback from the provider, and we see a much lower increase. If you recall, last year we instituted a plan to come forward with a new firefighter each of the next 3 years to increase staffing, so we see that as an increase of $56,000 in the budget. And we're also asking for a new employee in Parks and Rec maintenance, which we'll go over tonight, at $46,060. So you take those increases alone, that's $576,423. You factor out the total increase, you take out those, and we're looking at an increase of 3.56% in the general fund. So I think the department heads have done an outstanding job. I'd like to thank them for coming forward with a lean budget in what we could define as a tough year, when we're seeing increases in the area of 7, 8, 9%, if not more, in some of these projects. Next page just kind of lays out for you that summary page that is in the front of your book. One of the things that you're going to see in here, there's a significant number of capital outlays. Some of these capital outlays have been removed at my recommendation. For example, the tractors. We've got 2 departments that are looking for tractors. We've talked with the department heads. We're curious if we can find some efficiencies going forward and if this tractor can serve the needs of both departments going forward if we buy the right tractor. So those have been pulled out. We also have pulled out the generators for the highway garage and public works garage. Rationale with those is, number one, generators are really hard to come by right now. The lead time is in excess of a year, and I think we need to do some more work to ensure that we have the adequate infrastructure so that we can make these things plug and play, or do we have to do some more infrastructure work to ensure that these generators, when they come on board, are able to work. And we also removed a water main road access upgrade. We just don't believe we've got the time to be able to accommodate it next year. So this was pulled out in favor of hopefully coming forward next year. And one of the things we're hopeful for is we can tie this in with the delivery of the new tractor to help facilitate some of the work. So that kind of summarizes where we're at in the budget at this point. We're going to go, the way this is laid out is all of the similar groupings in the, under the headings are labeled together. So for example, tonight when we go over Parks and Rec, one of the first budgets we're going to go through is the Libby Museum. I will answer any questions you have relative to that. And then we'll dive into Christine's budgets, and her and Bo will be able to answer any questions you have for those. If you have any questions for me, I'll try to answer them for you. I would also like to thank Casey for spending the time here yesterday to bring these books to completion so you can have essentially a completed book. Actually, 2 days ago, it's kind of been a blur the past few days, but you should have complete books other than some summary pages, which we promised. We just haven't gotten an opportunity to get to them.
I could just say for the public that's listening, it is up on the town's website also if you'd like to follow along.
I have it in our book. October 24th was the Libby Museum. Casey and I already had that conversation earlier, so I don't know when you want to do it, but it's,
That's fine, that works.
this was
I'm good with
listed
that.
somewhere else.
I'm great with that.
So we're going to start on page 6, then. Right?
Yes, Parks and Rec, page 6 is Parks and Rec, is where we're starting. It was brought to our attention, a calculation error on the paper sheet for this. I distributed copies of pages 6 through 10 to be replaced in your books.
If you want to just go through the series, Dave, 100 down through, I guess if people have questions, address them to you, to us.
I have a question with the 100 series. We have an increase of $18,559. Can you tell me, did we add hours? Did we take a position and increase hours? Get that from the back sheet. It says salary, benefits less insurance.
So if I understand that one correctly, we've increased the administrative assistant from 20 hours to 29 hours.
Okay.
I think that's what you'll see, that reflection.
Okay.
29 hours keeps the individual under the
Okay.
threshold for benefits and whatnot, and it seems like that number works for them, correct, Christine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on the 100 series? 200, which is insurance. 300 is telephone. 400, vehicle maintenance.
The outside services, it looks like, Jim, did you line item that one out? The 23,000.
That's in Parks Maintenance, I believe.
380.
380 in park administration?
No, that's
Yeah.
in Parks Maintenance.
Or,
Yeah.
oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay.
I have one question on the 400 series, 434, and we have a note that it's moved to other departments. As I recall, so I'm not quite sure where it went, but I guess my question is, was it just moved up to 433 in this budget?
That is correct.
Okay.
But I've also, across the whole town, saved about $7,000 a year, so these are the actual rates that were just approved a month or two ago.
And you just allocated to the department?
And
Okay.
there was only a couple departments that weren't in the same account number, so I moved.
Okay, so that's what the move was. Okay.
500,
Yeah, 500. I saw printing in 500.
Yes.
And it was, we spent a lot in 2019, and then we haven't spent anything until the budget for 2023.
So in 2019, that was the last time we really went with the printed version of the brochure.
Okay.
2020, we took a break. 2021, we kind of took a break. We're going to print this next brochure. We're just updating it so we have it. People do want that, but we did cut back just because a lot of our things were not foreseen as far as, if it was going to happen or not. So that's why we didn't go to print.
All right, I was just wondering why we went back to
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah,
or-
people want still the print, so
Okay.
we're going back to that.
All right.
I've got 562 advertising. This year, we spent a lot, and then we didn't the year before, and the year before, we spent over 1,000. Is there a reason why you think only 700 works this year?
So hopefully, we are at full capacity with
Okay.
our staff right now. Some years I haven't spent any because I haven't needed that many staff because we have returning staff, but the past few years, even with full-time staff, we've had to advertise for.
Okay.
The 560, the rec desk software?
Yes.
Is that a yearly fee?
Yes.
600,
Yeah, I have a question in 635. I went back to my little bookie here, and it's gasoline, and I don't think we had a number for gasoline, and 4.703, $4 is high in relationship to what I've seen for any other department, so I don't have a consistent number I should be looking for.
I believe this is the one that one of the ones the town manager is going to wait till the 11th hour and make them all the same as soon as we know in December, I believe you had said to the department heads. Is that correct, Jim?
I think you're right, Linda, though. I mean, this is not,
This budget has it for something. Another budget had it $2.03, so it seems like maybe we should just have a number and then change the number.
Which was the direction, but the department heads weren't.
It just didn't look like the right number.
Yeah, I had the same thing circled.
It's like, I checked for it, and it didn't give them anything in here, but they've all used different amounts.
It did give them something in there, didn't
No, he said he was going to set it, but then as we look at the budgets,
Okay.
one's, $4, another one's $2, another one's $3, so I didn't know whether it made sense for just give them some set number, but
700, 800,
For 800, I commend you for professional development. I hope you have time with everything going on to do that. Wondering about travel and meetings. Do you anticipate other things happening, or?
Yeah, so this year I was supposed to go to the national conference. I actually opted to do it virtually just because of what was going on in my department. I couldn't get out. So typically that is for the Northern New England Conference and then the national conference.
Okay. Hopefully you can get to them.
Yeah. I did put a little bit more money in because now I have BoS and I have a program coordinator. So just the opportunity, we wouldn't all go at the same time, but it gives them opportunity to go to a day seminar or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, go to page 11. Park maintenance. $100.
So this is one of the areas that you'll see an increase for additional staffing. We'll hope to bring on a new full-time person partway through the year. One of the things that is grossly evident is this department is understaffed with their maintenance division. They've got nearly 40 cemeteries to take care of. They got a number of parks to take care of, and they simply can't keep up. We did bring on a new foreman, I believe started today. So that he's on board. We got to backfill that in a highway position. But we feel that this is a very, very critical position to fill going forward to keep the parks in a acceptable presentation to the community.
Is the open position maintenance foreman, which is my understanding what you filled?
It just got filled today.
And is that salary correct for that new employee? Because I know that employee had been in the town.
No, I think it's a little less actually, so I will
Okay.
give that right rate.
I just,
And that's a full-time position?
The foreman?
Yeah.
Or the one we're requesting?
The foreman.
Yes.
And the one you're requesting is another full-time position?
Yes.
So I see that the part-time wages are high, much higher than 2019, 20, 21, and it's probably because you have money in a pot and you're trying to get the employees for it.
Right. So that's the issue, is we raise the rates in order to get people, but we haven't been able to obtain people. In the past, we've been able to have a crew of 4 part-time seasonal employees, plus we have like 2 maintenance people, and we were down to one this year.
Any contingency plans in case you can't find people where those funds will go?
Well, it stays there. I can't really spend it. That's where the money goes. If I do need it, I reach out to the town manager if there's, for requests, but basically it stays there. We are trying to form a partnership with the high school to see if there's an avenue there to start recruiting people. What we found is all the people we had kind of grew up, got full-time jobs, moved on, and so now we're down on the lower level trying to groom people up to be in the Parks and Rec world. So we're open to suggestions, but that's where we're at right now, to try to figure out where is everybody working and how can we advertise for them to come to us. So that's where we're at.
I think, and just to be clear, I mean, the appropriation is the same as 2022. The expenditure is low because we can't get the help.
Correct.
so I have a question. You have the maintenance worker 1 and maintenance worker 2, and those are seasonal, they're part-time. They're being paid more than our permanent employees, and is that what we've had to do to get them, or is it because they don't get any benefits? It's
Yeah,
really,
so that's what it is. It's kind of to get them, they don't get benefits, that's the benefit they get is.
okay.
200 series? 300?
So this was my question on the outside services.
Yes, I've got that.
We eliminated that line, or did we eliminate it? We're just going to do it internally?
So this is an error on my part. Okay, I did eliminate this. I misunderstood the interpretation. I thought this was for tree repairs. This is one of those items that I'd like to have added back into
Absolutely.
the budget because it's more of a maintenance as
Right.
far as water, pruning, et cetera. My thought was, we're coming to the voters and asking this year, the plan is to ask for the establishment of an expendable trust for the removal and planting of new trees. So that was an error on my part. I'd really like to see this added back in.
I'll make a motion that we add $20,188 will be the amount for the outside services. Am I correct, or is that
Looks like it was 20,
2320?
It was
23,200.
23, but you're going to add money to remove and plant
I make a
trees, so I
motion to
think you
put
could do that.
23,200 back.
I'll second that. I just have one more question on that, are some of these things like, I don't know where the tractor, who's planning on buying the tractor, whatever, which department, but are some of these outside services things that, now that we have a new foreman and potentially maybe another worker coming in, do you have to spend that money on outside services? I mean, do you have to use outside people, or can you have your own department do some of those things, if you have the people?
Yeah, so I think if they're qualified, I mean, the outside services on this one, it's the tree pruning and stuff, so we hire a tree
Sure.
expert to do that. Water irrigation and stuff, I guess if someone's qualified, they could do it, but it's people that we use to turn on the water for the facilities
Yeah,
and shut it down for
okay.
the end of the season. Yeah, and then the landscaping at Cape Park, we hire someone to do that, the flowers and all that stuff.
And also the pruning, and
Yeah.
I would think you have
Yeah.
a skill set.
Yes, right,
That's what
not
I see,
anybody can
you
do
know.
that.
Okay.
That was why I made the motion.
Could you just repeat the amount, Linda?
It's 23,200.
Okay, just confirming, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
$400 series? 500? 600?
Yeah, again, there's that gasoline, now it's at $3.22.
I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay. I
don't know what
I
happened.
said, why-
Yeah.
The propane looked perfect.
Okay, what do you want to do there, then?
I just want to point it out, that that's
So you-
what we have each
So my
budget.
understanding is, Jim, that at the end of the budget process,
So what,
we should have a better idea.
so the plan at this point is, when you have your revisit night, we will have a spreadsheet that lays out all of the gasoline costs based on what the pricing is at that time. We'll
Okay.
do the same thing as we get into to the end of the budget committee's deliberations. And then, again, we will look at it from the floor at the deliberative session if we
Yeah,
have to. But
that
we're
makes
hopeful
sense.
that we can keep this one contained.
Safety
Yeah, we have to
equipment,
put something.
yes, safety equipment, is it, because you are going to have more employees, that you're going to need more equipment for more employees?
Yes,
680?
yep.
Okay, 700? 800? Okay.
17 beaches?
Then on page 17? Is that where we're headed?
Yep.
Okay. 100 series?
I have some questions on 100 series. We have consistently seemed to spend around $45,000 to $50,000, and we have a number here of $81,392. And so I'm trying to figure out why what we spend is so much lower than what we've been asking, what we're asking for here.
So again, we're in the same boat where what we're offering for wages is not what people are looking for. So we've had to continuously be short-staffed. So we up the prices a little bit in hopes that it will have people work for us. I mean, this year, we weren't able to keep the beaches staffed until Labor Day like we wanted to. We had days that we didn't have staff at all towards the end, so it's just trying to get people to work.
Can you, and
Are there still classes available for lifeguards and so forth? like
Yes.
there has been in the past?
Yes, I think part of the issue is where the classes are located. It's not always easy for people. We lucked out before that we had an instructor in-house that could train people, so it wasn't a big deal, but we're at the point where we don't have that right now. This was for lifeguards at Brewster Beach, but basically keep beach and gate attendants at the other beaches.
I wonder if we can reach out to the Taylor community and this winter, look to find some high school kids that would be willing to go there to do lifeguard courses.
Yep. That could be an option. So that's what we're doing, is trying to explore all avenues to see like what we can do to get more employees and how we make that work.
yeah, and you got to get the Red Cross to come in and do it. You got to find a certified instructor.
We got a closed pool now.
Yeah, but you
We'll have
got to
to-
find, sometimes it's harder to get the instructor than it is.
Yeah.
But so, you know, we're looking at a difference of about, 35 to 40,000.
I know.
That's, so I would think it might be good for us to know how many times you couldn't get staff, like you had.
Okay.
So we have, so when the budget committee looks at it, this is that way, is because these were what we'd scheduled for, this is what we couldn't fill. And that's why you see this. And
Okay.
Yeah, a number of unfilled positions.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
the number of hours and
Yep.
what the cost was, and I think that will justify where you are here.
Did Brewster make us have 2 lifeguards now?
They did. I did reach out to them to tell them that there would be times that I didn't have lifeguards. We also offer swim lessons at the beach. So those are lifeguards that are teaching the swim lessons. So some weeks I had no guards on the weekends. Some weeks I did have guards on the weekends. We only had a total of, I would say, 3.5 guards because some people were only available for like a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that will tell them that it wasn't just that you asked for a lot and then just didn't do
Right.
it. That you had them and they couldn't, and that's what caused the difference in
Yes.
you need by the lease
Right.
to fill it, as best you can. So that's, I think that will be,
Okay.
make the other meeting
Okay.
maybe a little bit easier.
200? 300? 400?
400.
Ground maintenance.
You spent $19,286.99 in ground maintenance in 2022. Can you explain why it's so high? And
We had to put a gate up at Brewster Beach,
Okay.
and that's what came out of that.
thank you.
Anything anticipated for this year? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
No.
There is a capital outlay
Yeah,
in there
just-
for Brewster Beach.
Brewster Beach, the holding tank needs another,
It's a single chambered septic tank, and we're constantly changing out the pumps because people flush whatever they want down the toilets. So by putting in a dual chamber tank, it allows the solids to stay on one side and the liquids move to the other, and that gets pumped out.
so that needs to be done.
I'm assuming it costs us a lot more to run a sewer line down there because it's on Clark Road.
when you do it, you can reuse the pump. You'll probably be able to reuse the floats, make sure that they're the right voltage. And you'll save some money. The tank's about $300 or $400, I think.
Okay, 500 series? 600? 700?
Yeah, I went on the 700. Have we been short bike racks? It's about $500 increase, and I'm assuming that has to do with your 500 for bike racks?
Yeah, I've heard a few more people complaining that we need more bike racks, so that's why I put that in there.
I'll solve your problem for you. I actually have 2 ones I'm looking to get rid of, so I will donate them to
Okay.
the town. And they're Adirondack style, so they're log style, so they're nice. I'll give you 2 of them.
Okay,
You can use them as you feel fit.
so pull that out.
No, I'm not just, I was just,
But you can have them.
Okay. Do I need to get that approved from the selectmen?
Yes.
Not if I'm giving them to you.
We have it on TV.
I'll drop them off tomorrow.
Just put them by my chair.
800 series? Okay.
Jumping to page 23, Abenaki.
$100 series.
I have many questions on the 100 series. I have it, the copies for you. Last year, it was open 13 weeks. We had people on duty. I went back to look at that. So now we're going to 16 weeks. So we're adding that, plus we're adding a inside lodge rental operations person for 16 hours. And my concern is the jump is $37,882, a 52.6. I'm comfortable putting somebody new in the lodge and keeping the number of weeks the same, or cutting them back and doing 14 weeks. But to add 16 weeks and an added staff person in 1 year, I think that's a lot. So that's my concern. I can't support that much. I could do, 14 weeks this year, move it to 15 if that works the following year, and then 16 the following year. But it seems like an awful lot of increase to add a position plus increase all the hours. I don't know how the rest of the selectmen feel.
I mean, I think it's going to be a year of making tough choices anyways, and I think, all the departments are going to be coming to us, and we're going to be looking at where we can, and I agree with Linda, that's a pretty dramatic leap. Is that something that you guys want to respond to, or?
Yeah, I would say first off, I did raise the rates a little bit. The part-time wages, I'm sorry. Just because, again, we were having a hard time securing staff, so that was the first issue. If you went to Abenaki, you would see Bo and I most of the weekends because we were filling in for all the staff we didn't have. The second thing is that I think I based it on what the requests were for ski team and all that to kind of keep in check. So we just have to decide when we're official opening and when we're officially closing, and I think that's where we go from there.
I have no problem putting the person in the lounge, because I saw you and Bo running around. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not using your time wisely.
Right.
And I could go to 14 weeks and do it at that, but I'm not comfortable going to 16 weeks.
And is it because you don't think that they can find enough help to support it?
No, the increase in the budget, it's the cost, it's the figure, That's what I am.
So during the last couple of years, we've never managed to fill all the part-time positions for spring and summer, and fall even. So can some of that money that we know you're probably not going to be able to spend be allocated towards the winter for Abenaki?
I don't know the logistics behind that, if that's allowed. I mean, I guess you're banking on it. I guess you could, but that would be a finance question.
When do we open?
Typically, December 26th is our opening. We've had requests to open closer to after Thanksgiving. Honestly, it really is dependent on the weather for us. I've been here for about 15 years, and there was only one time we opened super early. Other than that, we've been a little bit late, or December 26th, just because of the conditions.
So when do you normally start? That's 16 weeks, I'm trying to get through my mind too. When would you normally start prepping the mountain for a December 26th opening date?
So we usually train them about 2 weeks before, but we have other staff, so like the snowmakers and stuff, they come on before, so we'll start November 1st, looking at a 2-week window where we can make snow. So anytime at that point, we start looking at that to see if we can make snow and start the process.
And that was in last year, to make snow, the ability to make snow was in last year's budget. It just was made, this way it would be made earlier if it was possible. It
Right.
just seems like it's a big increase. I'd be comfortable with adding 1 week and adding, I think there is a definite need for the lodge. I'm not willing to cut that at all. But I hate to do the lodge and then turn around and add 3 more weeks to the season.
Well, again, that 3 weeks is just an if, because,
But you're putting the money in the budget.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're looking at places where we can, if we do 14 weeks, and this year it goes, and we're fine, then the next year we come in with 15, and then the year after that, 16. But it seems to, I'm just not supporting going from 13 to 16.
I would look at, like I said before, look towards the spring, summer, and fall, and try and get a guess. Are we really going to fill all these part-time positions? It hasn't happened in 3 years. And see if you can move a little bit of that money towards an opening earlier if weather permits.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately, it's backwards, though. She's going to spend her winter money first, and
Okay.
then know if she has favorability in spring and summer. So logistically, it's bottom line budget. With permission from the town manager, she could overspend one and underspend another. However, I don't think timing-wise,
Right, because if I open December 26th of that year, I would only have the 26th or the 31st of that budget.
Correct.
But what,
I'd like to make a motion to change the number of weeks on the Abenaki budget from 16 to 14.
Second.
I have a question, Linda, on that, please.
Sue?
On the, because there's 3 of them, the top 3 lines there, but then the chief snowmaker, groomer, mechanic has 16 weeks there, and in your sheet here, you had him at 15. So
Okay, I'll change that one
did you
back
want
to
to
15.
just identify that
Yes,
they're
I
not
will,
all going
okay.
down?
Okay, I will do the outside mountain operator, the inside lodge, and the ski patrol. And those are the ones that relate to the weeks that you
Up to
open the
13.
facility.
Yep.
And so
I
it's
just wanted
going
to-
back to we'll go to 16 to 14.
Oh,
so 3 positions,
should I?
Or go-
titles are going from 16 weeks to 13 weeks.
To 14
14
weeks.
weeks, sorry.
Yep.
Got it.
And I'll ask them this about the chief snowmaker, groomer, or mechanic. Should we move that back to 15, or do you need the 16 extra week? Because it was 15 you were saying last year.
I think 15 should be fine.
Okay, and then I would like to make a motion to move the chief snowmaker, groomer, or mechanic from 16 to 15.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question about, before we get into those. What do you have for this year left?
What do I have left over?
Yeah, for those 2 particular lines.
Well, overall, I have $25,856 startup for
For both
Abenaki,
of those positions?
for all of the positions for Abenaki.
Okay.
Is that enough to open up 2 weeks earlier this year and cover those part-time positions that you'll need?
I believe so. I have to look at that to figure that out, because we were trying to increase the rates this year.
This is going to roll back over to fall.
So we have the money for this year.
Right, that's what I was asking. Do we have the money this year to start early till the first of the year when this will kick in?
Well, let me check that out, because part of our issue is we couldn't get people for the prices we were advertising for, and we'd had a lot of changing of the guard this year, so we know we need to hire at least 3 new people that were kind of full-time for us during that season. So I do have to play around with that to figure out if
Okay,
when we
so
can.
we could revisit that, Jim?
Yeah, I think we can have a conversation, but I think we can as well make that number work so we can get you an actual number at the revisit night and hopefully have a better idea from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I would like to
This
go
is what
one,
it kind of is going to look like.
So am I getting the consensus of the board, you want to open sooner?
hold on 1 minute. So is there any way to go back
Well,
and
this is the
see,
next year's budget.
is there any,
Next year's not this year's. That's what I was asking, if she had enough money.
Yeah, I
This year.
understand that, but why would we revisit this? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to correlate what's happening, what we want to do this year with what I just made the motion for. That's what I'm trying to straighten out.
to make a decision, I'd like to know the last 2 years before, if it's possible, and did you have extra money?
Yes, but I wouldn't go anything off that, because in 2020, we didn't have, it was only residents only, and we shut down early.
Right.
And then in 2021, it was still kind of, so it's hard to go off of those numbers.
Yeah, and 2019 is too far back.
Yeah, 2019 was a different
So,
world.
to answer your question, 2017 actuals was 53,000, 18 was 43,000, 19 was 57,000, 20 was 45,000, 21 was 49,000.
So we've always had money, enough money in the budget to open it 2 weeks early anyways.
Yeah.
2
Okay,
weeks.
that's what I was trying to get at.
I was right with you.
Not
Okay.
so much for this year. This year, we're okay, but I want to make sure that we all understand that this is the money for next year,
Right.
in the fall.
So, okay.
And I don't have any problem with what you want to do, but I just want to,
So are you now saying, because we have some money, that you're going to open 1 week earlier this year, or 2 weeks earlier, and then the following year, you're only going to work 1 week earlier? I'm trying to see what you're trying to accomplish this year,
Yeah.
and that having this year sync with what my motion for the following year.
Right. So I would say with the money I have left over this year, was this past year's money, we had different rates that what we were paying people. So we weren't able to get a lot of people. So I have to figure out with the new budget, and I have a rate increase, right? They're going to get higher wages. I have to kind of factor that in, because I can't say, well, from December to whatever, you're going to get less money, but in March, when the vote passes, I'll pay you whatever it's supposed to. So I have to figure that piece out and then go back. So I have to do a little calculating, and then I can give you the answers when we could open based on people and numbers.
we're still going to vote on those two motions.
Yes.
All right, let's just lump them together, because I think they both go together.
I was able to quickly financially, it's $12,297 to let you know.
Okay, that we're saving.
All right, all those in favor of the motions that are on the table? Aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. One opposition. Okay. 200, 300 series? 400? 500?
Can I go
Insurance?
back to 300 series? We're talking about, it's trash removal. Never mind. Okay.
Okay, we're up to 500, 600, 700, 800. Okay, that takes care of Abenaki.
So I would just like to say one thing about Abenaki. What Christine and I have talked about is, we need to be very conscientious of when we are able to make snow based on temperatures. We're going to try to make the snow early, but the understanding is they may sit there in piles because they're not going to go anywhere until we really push it around with the tractors. So we may be making snow a little bit early, but that doesn't not necessarily we're going to be trying to open on Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be, we got to make snow when it's cold. So we're trying to strategize that so we can get to the point of, okay, look, we're going to try to open a week earlier this year. And that just so we're all aware that that's something we're trying to strategize going forward.
That's why I wanted to give them the biggest window possible so that they have the time and availability to do what they want to do and what they need to do and what they can for the weather, instead of putting them in a box.
It's what they've functioned in, and they are going to, they might do 1 week, and I think we see how this goes, and then we can add another week.
Doesn't make any
next
sense
year.
to me.
Well, it's fine.
You ski, Brian?
Yes.
I will just tell you from personal experience, because I used to live right up on Pine Hill Road there. This is years ago. This is well before your time. But there were some times where we made snow way too soon. And then we'd get a rainstorm for 5 days, and it would be gone. I'd hear those snow guns at night from my house, and I'd be like, it's barely 30 degrees, and they're blowing snow on a hill. I mean, it's a mountain, but it's a hill. So caution on that, because everyone sees it too, and it's like, it's, like I said, it's going to be a tough year, economy, and for blowing snow in the middle of the rain or whatever, it's.
Yes.
And that's why we're saying, leave them in a pile, because they'll crust over, the rain will run off.
Yeah.
And they're basically stockpiled until
Sure.
such point that we can
Sure.
push it around and open the mountain up, so.
We had that happen last year. Remember, we made a bunch of snow, and then we got
Yeah.
snow, and then it rained, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on to page 29, hockey rink. Just want to make one comment before we get started. I think that you, Jim, have done an excellent job about taking photos and bringing everybody, at least on Facebook, up to speed on what's happening out there at the rink. If anybody hasn't been out there, you want to go out and take a walk through that facility. That's going to be one hell of a facility when it's all done.
So what you're saying
We should
is,
be
I'll
pretty
see you
proud
guys
of it.
every weekend, right?
What's that?
Is that what you're saying? I'll see you every weekend?
Every weekend?
Yeah, you'll be there every weekend once it's open?
Skating.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
could
to
be.
go to the,
I would be the one out of here. I'm either
Yeah.
on the hill or in the.
I'd go there to get hot dogs or something.
Okay.
Not skate anymore. No more skating. Did enough of that. Did enough with my daughter there as well. Okay, the hockey rink. We don't have much here.
This is just for the ice, our ice.
I just have one question, because a lot of people have been coming to me with the same question. How much public skating is going to be offered at the new rink during the week?
So we always have public skating during the day, during the week.
Yep.
It's hard to do it once, I would say Thanksgiving through February vacation, just because that's when we have Brewster, Kingswood, Back Bay all using it. So it's hard to find time to do like a nighttime. We have been doing we looked at the schedule. It looks like we can do some Friday night things or Saturday night things, trying to do it during the weekend. But it's really hard to do it during the week to have something for them at night. But we do have skating during the day. So we typically have a lap skating, a stick practice, and a public skating during the day. And then on the weekends, we try to do it during the day, and then we try to have those specialty nights for like a dance party. We did a couple last year, and people were excited about it. So we're trying to find more of that window. I did have discussions with all our users and tried to get them on the same page. Like, could we make sure we're pretty consistent when we have games, so we know like that's a game day, so we can utilize other opportunities. And I think they worked really well with doing that, so that gives them.
And that's what I've told some citizens who have come to me, that there is time to skate there when you want to.
Right. Typically, we open up in October, and I can tell you there is a lot of time, plenty of ice. People could come and skate anytime they wanted. So there is an opportunity there. I think now that we're getting a new rink, I think people will be more excited for that. So I think we really have to showcase that and kind of advertise a little bit more when we have those special events. But we're trying to have it so it's a more consistent schedule. And it works as long as we don't have any snow or cancellations. But when that happens, some things are impacted, and we try not to help it as much as we can.
And I've been there, you have a hockey game and it's over and people are lined up to go out to public skating. It's around 2 o'clock, I think, is the time.
Yeah.
And then the hockey games come in again. But on the weekend, there are a lot of families who bring their kids to skate there.
Yeah.
What is the situation with Brewster this year? I know they got approval for their hockey rink.
Yeah, so they did, we told everyone that our planned opening date is January 3rd. So we did get schedules from everyone, so that's what we're planning on. I know they were having a practice rink to kind of be set for that, and if anything was to delay, they would be all set. But they're planning on starting January 3rd, around that time, a little bit after.
So they will basically have their games at the rink?
And
Or
practice.
practices as well?
Yes.
Both?
Yep, both.
Okay.
And just so that we're clear, that January 3rd is kind of a soft opening day, provided that we meet the criteria established. The code enforcement officer, the fire chief, myself, and the construction manager sign off on it. But the takeaway is there will not be locker room facilities at that point. We've got other strategies we're working through at this point. It's very live. But there will not be locker facilities, most likely until the spring of 2023.
Okay, but they will have public restrooms and restrooms and stuff
Yes.
available?
Front lobby.
You can't open it without that.
And when are you
Just
get to
making
move in?
sure.
That's still up in the, we're trying to, we might be able to secure a location, so it might be like how it was at the end of the season when we were all at a round table in a room, but we just need something so we can be at the facility helping run it,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
So, yeah.
One of the weird things that has just hit us is the windows for Christine and Bo's offices are on back order.
Oh, well, you like cold weather.
I do like it cooler. Yeah.
Plywood and styrofoam works, you know.
Exactly, that's what we're.
Okay. Move on to programs on page 31. $100 series.
It's just the part-time wages again, same thing, right? It's going to be, the money's there, we got to fill the positions.
Yep, also this year, we're kind of coming out of COVID. Our numbers were a little bit lower, and it seemed to be across the board with all rec departments, just reestablishing after having so many protocols and stuff. So we were a little bit lower than typically. We hired the right amount of staff for the kids we were servicing, so we didn't really hire too many people. We hired the amount we needed. But again, we're looking at, you know, wages had to go up in the bus drivers because we pay whatever they get paid over there, so we had to be consistent with that.
Okay, 200 series, 300.
I have the 300, 380. We're going up by $15,655. And can you tell me where and why?
Yep, so that is for the pavilion bathroom cleaning. In the past, we've put in for it just for part-time services, like weekends or stuff. I haven't really been able to obtain someone to do that, and I had talked to a previous employee to kind of form a partnership so we all go out when we're trying to clean the bathroom, see if we can get a deal. So what we're trying to do is have that be on there, because it's just hard for my maintenance staff to be down there. I had myself doing it, like anybody was doing it. They just need to be more cleaned frequently because they're being heavily used.
And that's the pavilion down on Foss Field?
Yes, the Foss Field Pavilion.
And is that going to be opened all year round, or for how many months is this for?
So that is just for, I think we open it typically April
Okay.
through the end of October. And I'm still waiting for an exact quote for that, but that's roughly ballpark.
Okay,
where
I just
we're at.
didn't think that it was open year-round. I just
No,
want
I
to
mean,
make
it
sure we
will be
realize.
open, like, we will be utilizing the bathroom this year.
Yeah.
But it won't be open to the public, but it's really just when we're open.
Open
But
down there,
I'll tell
okay.
you, being in a trailer down there, you'd be surprised how many people are using those bathrooms.
So do we use the same cleaning service that we use at the town docks?
And the rate,
That is the one I'm trying to use, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to partner with them so we can all be on the same page.
Okay, because they do a fantastic
Yes.
job, the town
Yeah.
docks and the
Yeah.
other restrooms. so.
and they do the railroad station?
Yes.
Okay, so this would be an addition to that.
And do they do Kerry Beach too?
No, that's my staff. So when I have this, because those bathrooms aren't open unless the staff are there, and then we have a porta potty when it's not open.
And Brewster, the same thing.
Yep, same with Brewster. I'll be.
Okay, 400. 500. 600. 800. Okay. Page 36. 38, okay. I'll go along with that. Okay, community center. 300 series. 400,
Let me just, I'd like to ask a question. How much is that being used? You know,
So we utilize it for, in the summer as our rainy day location
Yep.
for summer camp. They'll eat lunch up there. The quilters use it on a regular basis.
okay, it's the quilters, okay.
We also, the seniors are starting to use it a little bit more regularly, and we often will have programs up there here and there.
I mean, how often in the winter, though?
Yeah, that's where I was
I mean,
going.
could we winterize that place and,
Quilters would be the ones who would,
The quilters use it more in the winter, so they're there, yeah.
I had the same thought.
Right, and I was trying to think, because we did try to utilize Abenaki a little bit more when we were there, but I think they're the same time when we're open, so that wouldn't work.
okay. 600, 700. Okay.
On you.
Page 40. Town docks.
May I? Because I kind of put it together. So I looked at the actuals, knowing that it was a project that you wanted to do. I think that we increased the weeks a little bit. We also put in a flat rate. We currently were paying overtime rate, and so some people were getting paid different to be doing the same job. It was something I was thinking about bringing up in negotiations. So it is increasing quite a lot, but it's not a big number. And that's what I'm putting out for you all to talk about.
Will there be some who've worked, who got their salary in overtime, will be being paid less at this rate?
No, I took the highest amount paid and thought that that was, and then I increased it 4%.
Okay.
And figured that that would be fair to the lowest paid guy and the highest paid guy. If we're doing the same job, we should be paid the same
Yeah.
amount.
And we think it would increase the pool.
I think that's fine,
Yeah.
as long as nobody got paid less. That was my only
I was
concern.
looking at it as like a detail rate. That's what I wanted to
Yep,
propose.
sounds good to
Not
me.
paying each person an overtime rate. And then I think I increased the, I'm not exactly sure, but I think I increased the weeks because I think you closed a little early because you were out of budget. Is that true? Or,
We did 12 weeks last year, I think you get 60.
yeah. So it's all up for discussion. I just know that it was a good program. It was well received. I liked it. I thought that you might want to have it open 2 weeks earlier and later.
Or we
think
might want to
Amy-
pick like a weekend, like Memorial Day. The difference down at the docks when they're there
Oh,
and the number of boats we can
Huge.
get in and when they're not there is just, and we may want to pick some weekends.
yeah, I think Amy Amy met with the guys, most of the guys that did it, and that's kind of what they came up with, so, you know, I think she really took the lead on that and kind of made that happen, so.
We want to revisit this when you come up with,
No, these numbers are,
numbers are okay? Okay, they're fine with me. I'm just asking if,
Good with them, too.
okay. All right.
a little increase, but percentage-wise, it's a big increase, but I think the value add
Right. The value is certainly
Pays
there.
Far cheaper than extending the docks.
And frankly, the amount that they kind of saved us as well on some
Damage?
damages was very helpful.
You want to watch some of
Aesthetic
those
purposes?
boat drivers. Okay. Patriotic purposes. You have some information about fireworks?
I wish.
Telling us earlier?
Yes.
I think that might
next
be the
one.
next one, though, right?
That's the next one.
That's the next one, okay.
This is just,
This is the American Legion
Okay,
and their
That's fine.
request.
page 45.
And they gave you these amounts?
So
Or
I got this after. Was it the same price or was it different?
it says waiting for American Legion request is what you wrote, so I don't believe you've changed it.
It was increased last year.
should we put this on revisit in case they come in with a list? If
Well, I
not-
know they gave me a sheet, I just
Okay.
don't remember if it was, so we might want to revisit that, and I can.
It'd be pretty easy to check with John Sutherland.
Yeah, we just revisit if it's fine, we'll be just,
I mean, I don't have any problem with the number, but
Yeah,
I
let's
it's
just
easy.
revisit it.
if it's there.
Okay,
want to make
perfect.
sure that he's on board with it. Now that it's in the book. Okay, next one is fireworks.
So we're still trying to secure a fireworks company. I guess a lot of people are having issues with it just because the market's pretty small. One company was bought out, so I think they're by a bigger company, so it seems like a lot of those people are jumping ship and trying to go to the people that we were using, so, and I'm also hearing there's a hard time getting product right now, so a lot of people aren't signing contracts because they're not sure if they can run a show. So I've already put bids out twice, and I'm too early, I'm told, because no one's bidding on it. I actually called them to find out what's the problem, and he just explained that all to me this morning, so. In the next couple weeks, he would let me know what's going on. He did get some movement, so he's trying to, he doesn't want to make promises he can't fulfill. So that's where we're at right now.
So we can
Probably revisit,
revisit.
when you have,
It's like,
yeah, definitely revisit, yeah.
I have one question and one thought. With regards to shutting down or winterizing the center, could the quilters use the Great Hall?
They had special electrical outlets
It's
in
the
the,
outlets everywhere because they have floor outlets.
Oh, okay.
So I think that might be part of the issue. And also, all of their stuff is stored there.
yeah.
Okay.
So I just don't know if that would be an easy transition.
Okay.
Good idea, though.
And fireworks, year-to-date, 21,200. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
what I
was
already told him, I already told him that.
It is my fault, but I'm trying to figure out where the number came from.
It's the $8,200, which is the donation money for the laser show, minus what you paid.
Minus what I paid.
That's correct.
Oh.
But it was funded by donations, so the budget was grossed up by the,
All right, because I knew it was a $10,000 show. I didn't remember that my 1,800
you paid the
paid.
department, remember? So the town only officially paid 80.
So the town owes me $1,800? No?
Good luck.
All right.
That's right. I've already spent that on something else.
Christine, have you thought, I mean, this could be a good idea too. Have you thought about having like a, you know, if the fireworks shows are a lot more expensive going forward, have you thought about putting it out for a sponsorship too?
I mean, that is a possibility. It might have to come to that. I know there's 2 shows I'm kind of working on because I'm on the last night
Last
committee.
night, Wolfeboro's trying, we aren't going out to fundraise until we know whether we really can get a show off.
Right.
That would be the one to call Russ on too.
Okay.
So if we had a $25,000 fireworks show, would it be easier to get one?
Maybe. So when I was in Milton, we used to raise the money for the fireworks, so I think it can be done. But
I think the takeaway on it is if there's a product issue,
Yep.
and if we all of a sudden go from a $13,000 show to a $25,000 show, it's doubling the product, where
Yep.
are they going to be able to get it?
Maybe we do a laser show.
I've thought about that, but a lot of people like their fireworks.
yeah, a lot of us do.
It's nice to be able to have both.
Yes.
Okay.
Page 47, Clock House.
Park House, page 47, right. 400 series. 600 series. 800. Okay.
Page 49 is cemetery.
Get there. Let's see. Cemeteries, 100 series.
Let me just check, say, we hired the person in maintenance, but the person in maintenance may be doing some cemeteries?
Yeah, so what, in the maintenance budget, if you look, I think somebody is for 32 hours, and then it's 8 hours over on the maintenance side, and then we hire, well, typically, we've hired just maintenance people that come in after hours. But again, we didn't really have anybody this year. It was our full-time crew doing it, so. We have a couple people, they're more for the restoration. They do the restoration, so getting all those done. And we're actually working on a project right now, just trying to hit all our cemeteries, take pictures of them, see where they're at, and kind of put it in that new cemetery software. So we can have a game plan moving forward, because I think part of it is some of those cemeteries, we really have to make sure people are wearing town gear in town vehicles, because we had someone go up and someone was ready to shoot them because they were on their property. So it's, some of these cemeteries are literally on somebody else's property in the woods, like, so we're just trying to get a handle on all the ones we're responsible for, have conversations with the families if they are managing them, and just see what's going on there. So that's really where we're at with that whole project.
Jim, about a month ago, I brought you a note with the gentleman's name who said that he did work for the town at one point for the DPW or something, and then had kind of retired, but said was looking for a part-time job to come back to the town. And talking to him, I said, you know what, we always need people to mow the cemeteries, and he was like, I'll do it. I don't know if he left the town on good, on good terms before and whatnot, but you could reach out to him as a part-time position. He might be in his 60s, and that would be something that he said he'd like to do. Not me.
Okay,
Okay, what's going on?
100 series. 200. 400. 600. In the cemetery.
That would cover the
I believe we're doing Pop Whalen according to the calendar.
Which? Pop Whalen?
Down to the Pop Whalen tab, closer to the back of the book.
Oh, I missed that.
Yep. 200 series, page 1. Okay.
I have something on the 100 series for Pop Whalen, and I'm
Okay,
gonna,
well, page 4.
It wasn't.
okay. I'm going to hand you out the business plan that the Friends of Pop Whalen put out as part of their packet.
You?
And part of what they have been raising their money, and when they looked at 2023, in that budget, they budgeted for a full-time employee coming forward and all the benefits. And am I correct, Jim, that this is only a half-time position?
Correct. So the position which is in here is currently the existing position, part-time. I think what we're looking at is we know going forward, the arena is going to need additional manpower to operate the facility fully. What our hopes are is that this, is the staff under the general fund does a lot of crossover work between the arena and the work, between the arena and the ski area. For example, the primary person who makes the ice and does the Zamboni operations, he's not identified in here as an arena employee. He's actually a general fund employee. We know that the business plan says we have to, at some point, transition to additional staffing. I don't think we're ready for that at this point in time. I believe that going into next year, 2024, that's where we work together and say, okay, look, this person, we need to focus on the arena. And I think as well, you know, part of that is a rink manager person. And is that rink manager person management, labor, someplace in between, a combination of the both? We don't, I believe, have a good handle on that at this point.
And I guess what I'm looking at is, we have the ice and that part of the rink, but then we have the art center part that's going to come when the ice goes down, and us building that. And it would be great in the spring if we could get it up, get baseball or lacrosse in. That's what's going to build the revenue going forward to make this enterprise, and that's what they were looking at when they were doing this. And so in the summertime, there isn't going to be that crossover from Abenaki into this facility. And so that was why they put it in this budget, seeing that there was somebody who was going to have to deal with winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. And I just wanted to point that out, that it needs to be the four season, and they're raising money with this kind of a budget. So this is what they gave us. This is what we're coming forward, and I just wanted everybody to make sure we understand that we're deviating from what is there. And I've asked Jim, and I said, well, are we going to get spring in there? We're asking Brewster, and we're asking the Governor Wentworth Regional School District to buy locker rooms. We thought, Friends of Pop, and it's not, that those locker rooms would be done, you know, the end of February, and that we would like to see spring start in that facility. And so that's why I'm bringing it up at this time. It may not be realistic, but I didn't want us to go do a budget without looking back at what they had presented and what they're raising money on.
Agreed wholeheartedly. You know, I think this is one of those growing challenges that as a department we're challenged to make the answer as well. We know that there are other areas that are suffering, and I think that if we can get this maintenance person, I think it'll certainly help Christine and Bo going forward to be able to manage it. So as you've alluded to, they're not there running the lodge on the weekends or parking vehicles on the weekends, that type of thing. They can do more of that management role that they're supposed to be doing. And then, you know, I believe over the next year, we really focus on that plan and look at our rates so that, you know, in October, or excuse me, not even October, July, we can come to the Board of Selectmen and say, look, this is what we're proposing for rates for the upcoming year.
They had, you know, this would not affect the tax rate if the revenues that they're talking about are true, and I think it was based on the rates that we changed them to, and they're looking at about $30,000 for spring, summer, and fall, and they're going to start looking at whether they can get more advertising, those yearly banners and things, in order to make make the revenue for it. So they're going to be trying to go out and, you know, raise money through banners and signs, and so I just don't want us to undercut them in any way. That's my concern.
No, and I'll have a conversation with them on that as well. You know, I think the other thing is, you know, we don't have a solid handle on what the costs of the operation are at this point. There's 5,000-gallon propane tanks there that are going to be running a lot of equipment, and we've got an idea of what those may look like, but I think we saw with the library, the ideas that we had in the budget were significantly different than what the actual operating costs turned out to be. So, we're going to start firing some of that equipment up here very shortly. So next year at this time, hopefully we've got, 10 months of solid data as to what it's costing us to run the facility.
Just want to make sure we're clear on what they're out there trying to raise money for and have put this together, and that we don't not meet them.
Okay, 200 series, 300, 400, 500, printing and dues, 600. Again, gasoline, like we talked about. Okay, 700 series, 800, 900, debt service. Okay.
So I think the next place we need to go is capital outlay. I am noticing that the pages are not numbered. I apologize for that. For first request, for Parks and Rec, 9 pages in, on the top, it says ranking number 1, town beaches / sand improvements for $60,000.
Pages and numbers.
Page 10.
All right. Okay, page 10. You want to explain this, Christine?
Sure. This is for our beaches, all 3 of them. Specifically, we noticed an issue this summer with Albee Beach. I had to go over there probably 3 times where there was significant drainage issues. It was coming down the beach, and I have pictures, I should have attached it, but there was like chunks of sand that were gone. So we had to actually come over with the front loader, move it all around and make sure it worked. I had a conversation with Dave Ford. It seems like we have to figure out the drainage issue, the way it's just running the water down. And none of our beaches have had sand replacement in about, I think it was 15 years. So we're definitely seeing that. One of the things to start this right away is there looks like in 2023, Lake Wentworth is going to be drawn down. So there's an opportunity for us to put in a permit to kind of pull some of that sand back and do the work that we need to do. So that's why we put it in for 2023. And we hadn't done the sand replacement. We knew it had to be done, but with Cary Beach, for instance, we still had to figure that runoff off, which we have. So I think we're at a good spot now that we can start putting some of that sand back.
I have a question. There also was a whole plan for how to put pathways in to try to stop some of the damage to the trees when their roots are coming out, and pathways to try to stop. Are you going to use that as you look at what you're going to do? And because what I saw, I mean, it was a huge cut into the beach there.
I know, we got a call and I was like, okay, we'll come down. And I went down and I was like, oh my gosh, we need someone. It was bad. We did put some bark around the trees, so we did kind of protect those a little bit, but we definitely have to figure out that whole drainage thing.
Because to me, what was there, just throwing sand is not going to solve.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. If I just keep adding sand, we're going to now have a layer where you have to step up and walk over into the water, because there will be sand just going into the water. We need to kind of figure out how we make it stop going into the water.
Right, and I'm assuming you need DES permits for this?
Yes, correct. Yep.
I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask it a lot during these meetings, just because of the year and I think the way the economy is. So, is this something that you could not live with if we couldn't do it next year? If we push this down the road? I know Albee is
Yeah, I think
There's no
Albee-
window there.
Yes, and so this was kind of guesstimate on money, talking to a conversation with Dave Ford. I think possibly the beach replacement could hold off for a year. I think really the focus is trying to figure out to stop the sand from running down into the water. Like, we need to figure that piece out. And if you were actually looking at the water, looks like there's a way we could just divert it to the left and it might stop the whole situation, but we have to figure that piece out.
This looks like a possibility for public donations, too. People love our beaches. You might be able to reach out to some of the earth movers and the excavators in town and say, help us out, please. It might be something where they can donate some of their time and some of their materials to help the beaches. Everybody wants to help the beach.
Could we,
I wonder if there's any DES money, a grant, because we obviously have a runoff that's affecting lake quality. And, you know, and see what kind of funds they may have, because I think this is going to be a larger fix than just throwing on some sand. I think we have an issue there, and I would like to see if we could get any grant money for it.
especially as you go further down the beach on Albee, in front of that the fenced in, the house that's fenced in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you have a lot of the really bad runoff, because it's such a steep embankment there. So, I mean, the only thing I would ask is that, you know, if we could break it up, and I mean, I think jumping on Albee while the water is down is important, so
Okay.
I don't know if we can get an actual, like, better idea on cost of the
Yep.
permitting, and then put some money aside for whatever, whether it's, you know, half of that or whatever.
I'm wondering if we could revisit this, and the reason I would say revisit, so that we could sit down with Steve Randall, have him look at it from his perspective. Okay, look, this is what it's going to cost us to take care of this remediation on the entry around the tree roots, and that'll help us to be able to facilitate the sand replacement based on permitting, and maybe come back with a comprehensive number for just that one this year, and then
They did
Yeah.
it.
each year
They-
out, do each one.
Right, because in my mind, I think the sand replacement, once you do it, I believe it's a 10-year window, like once you get it, so then you have so much you can put on the beach. I think the more important thing is.
It used to
this-
be 5 years.
Okay.
You used to be able to do a permit every 5 years. I used to do it out on Cow Island. Every 5 years, you could get a permit, and you could put the sand above the high water mark on the shore.
Right, I think the bigger thing is it doesn't matter how much sand you put there if we don't stop
No,
the
that's what
problem.
I'm saying. I forget, I want to put the
Right.
sand aside.
Right.
And they did something at Camp Birchmont and at Camp Pierce where they did the beaches to stop exactly what's going on here. And I would contact Julie Brown of
yeah.
the Wentworth Watershed Association. And I don't know if any of this was in their watershed management plan, or whether there's any 319 funds, or whether we can take some money out of, here's that water quality capital reserve. This would be a place that I would say, we put some more money in, let's take some money out of there, let's solve a problem
Okay,
more than just dumping the sand.
Yes.
And we know we have a significant problem there.
yep,
So those would be my
Can
two.
we revisit this one then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we know Suzanne will be on this as well.
Oh, she was the one who paid for the plan. You know, you have copies of that, don't you?
yes, I
Okay.
did get that,
Yeah.
yep.
She will be on us
Yes, she
about it.
will.
Next request is number 2 for the John Jay tractor that was removed by the town manager.
Yeah, so this is one of those that I had a conversation briefly with Christine about, with Public Works and going forward. Is this something that we can buy a single tractor that may meet the needs of both agencies? Or do we really need 2 tractors? And are the tractors that are being asked for appropriate for the scopes of work that are being done? So this one we kind of put on hold.
Can I just jump in on that too? Because if it was between Parks and Rec and DPW getting a tractor, I think, my personal opinion is Parks and Rec should get a tractor. I think they need it for the beach drags, they need it for they can use it for a lot of things, and it would be DPW coming to Parks and Rec when they need to borrow it, and I think that's great, personally.
So, I mean, one of the takeaways I have on this one is, you know, I would not necessarily go with this type of tractor. I'd go with something different that meets both agencies' needs a little bit better. Right now, they tow a DR mower behind their gator for mowing the ski area. It's not necessarily the safest way to be able to do that job. You know, they make what's called an AB. It's a very low slung mower that has the ability to have arm attachments for roadside mowing, that has the flail mower on the front for the ability to do the ski area, and they can also attach a snow blower to it to either clean streets or sidewalks or around the new building. So while I understand the need for a tractor, I would really rather look at getting them the right tractor that they need to do the job as safely as they can.
5 pages down is request number 3 for baseball field improvement for $60,000.
So I put this in here because something needs to be done. However, then there's been discussions with the pickleball people, so I'm not sure if this is a right now project. I still need to figure out like what the plan is, because part of the things we were discussing is moving the baseball field, so.
I don't think we were, I think the pickleball
they
people were. So let's,
Yeah. So I'm not sure if we should wait to see how that comes out before we move forward, but we definitely do have to put some money into that baseball field.
Yes, I agree.
yeah, I'll go where you are. Does 60,000, or could we do it in 2 pieces? Do
Yeah,
31
and I don't
year?
even know. I'm still trying to work
Okay.
quotes on that, so that was kind of a guesstimate. So it is probably something I need to figure out what direction we're moving in. Could we phase it?
How would not the bullpens, the
Dugouts?
Yeah,
Fine.
they're fine.
It's all infield. I mean, the infield needs a lot of work.
Right.
I mean,
Because somebody had told me that the dugouts needed work too.
They need to be painted probably, but
hey, Lou, when you played on it, it's probably better than that.
it's barely better than that. I mean, it's not their
We
fault.
played
I
on
mean,
some pretty rides.
Yeah, but it was a dirt infield back then, you know, with grass. It definitely needs some work. If we can do it over a couple of years, you know, or, you know, like I mentioned to you about, you know, the pickleball people really want all these courts, you know. You could probably chip in and help out with the baseball field.
Well, they
Just
want to
a-
get rid of the baseball field, so they aren't going to. But we could go back to what Brian is saying.
And they're bulldozing it is their solution to
Yes.
fix it.
But Brian, we could go back to your, I think a lot of work on that baseball field was done volunteer, local people whose kids were playing in the game.
Bean.
Yes, exactly, Jim Bean.
And if
Yep.
you call up the cavalry, they'll come. People will come to
Yeah,
help
and
that.
I definitely think we do have the Cal Ripken Baseball League is willing to help us. We just have to figure out, like, we need money for supplies and stuff to figure out which direction we're going in. But I definitely think they will.
It
be
would
part
cost a
of it.
lot less money to put a bunch of banners on the fences that said that infield restored by, dugouts
Right.
restored by.
Right.
Absolutely. To me, this is something we should revisit. I would like to see it, if we go forward with it at all, depending upon where we are at the end of the budget, that we look at phasing it and maybe trying to get the rest of it donated with people who have done it for years and willing to.
Request number 4, Cape Park improvement, $40,000.
Okay, so when I originally submitted this, I had some work that had to be done, but I actually am doing that on my budget. So this really is for ADA compliance on the right side where the stairs are, to make that more of a ramp for ADA, for people to be able to come in. I had a few people come to me already that said, people are carrying their strollers down the stairs, people can't go that way. And we do have handicap parking on the bottom layer, but to get from the street down is where they're seeing an issue, and people are complaining they have to walk all the way around to go to the back of it. So I was in the park with John Thurston, and we kind of went through it, and he talked to me about it, so I just put it in here.
So I have a question. There are some ballots that are in front of propane tanks that we had asked to be removed. Are those something you would use?
Yes, he actually already has a spot where he's going to put those. So yes, we are going to put those in the park.
Thank you.
Yep.
When will those be removed?
He's actually, I got approval for 2 things that he's working on, so he's in the process of being down there in the next few weeks to start doing this.
Okay.
Is this a revisit? Because we don't have a quote yet?
Yeah.
Next, request number 5 for Brewster Beach Septic for $10,000.
So this was what I was talking about that needs to be done. A guesstimate on the quote because I've reached out a few times and haven't got any information, so I will have to come back to you with a real number.
Yeah, it's revisit.
If you need potential customers to do this for you, I have about half dozen.
Okay, that would be great. I'll probably reach out to you for that.
To reach out to Steve Randall, too, to look at. I'm
Okay.
assuming what you have there is a concrete septic tank there now with a pump in it, pumping it out. You also want to go to a 2-chamber system here. Might be able to utilize the existing tank, put a baffle in it, and just put a smaller pump chamber off the end of it and put the pump in that instead of replacing the whole tank.
Okay.
So I think it'd be worth having Steve take a look at it. And
Okay.
might be able to come up with an alternative thing, which would be save a lot of money and, kind of brainstorm it too, so.
Okay.
Where is this tank?
It's right behind the Brewster bathhouse.
So it's on our property?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is all that was scheduled for this evening.
Okay. Anything else you want to bring to us tonight?
No, thank you for
Have a couple
listening.
of things to go back and,
What?
you have a couple of things to go look at.
Yes. Yep.
I think overall it went pretty well. Anybody have any questions?
Yes. Luke, what's for dinner Thursday night?
I was going to get to Mexican.
Okay. Double check. Things can change.
Oh, I thought you were going to cook all.
Oh, we're done. Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else tonight, Jim?
I have nothing.
Good. I'll make a motion that we adjourn till Thursday.
Did we have to take a vote on that intent to cut that we just signed?
Okay. All those in favor?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Now we can go home. Casey, you all set?
I am, thank you, sir.
Yep.
See you on Thursday.
All right, so
Randall's going to be thrilled with all the volunteer work he's got.
Yes, we got it.
We'll get some.
Say,
So we
what
have
if-
police, fire, emergency management, public
I-
safety building, animal control and communications on Thursday. That'll be a fun night.
And do you think it's necessary to put this in the budget book for the
Sure.
budget committee?
I think so.
I think so.
It's the budget that and we may want to label it, the proposed, yeah, yes.
Yep.
And they may have it so electronically, so you don't
I
have
think I
to.
do have it electronically.
Yeah,
From when,
when they did it, okay.
all right.
We already
Yes.
did, we already made a motion to.